Back to the boys, back to our roots.
Yeah, and we wanted to tackle this TikTok thing, which is potentially going to affect a ton of people in a ton of different ways. But
what the hell are you talking about? I'm selling my business. This is the last episode of the podcast.
Is it?
TikTok is going away, Marcus. We are screwed.
Luckily, we, or at least myself and yourself, we've had some success using TikTok, but by no means are either of us connected so much to it that it's going to affect us greatly. But what is it? What is the whole thing? So let's break it down a little bit.
Yeah.
TikTok's owned by ByteDance, if I'm saying it correctly, in China. And this whole act, the what they're trying to pass, it's under the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act. I have no clue what all that garbolegook means, but basically under that assumption, they're trying to protect our data and protect Americans from foreign snooping, I guess, eyes with the data.
Yeah, I mean, that's my understanding of it. Essentially, American politicians are terrified of the D word, data, and who has it, who owns it, who manipulates it, who can do what with it, which in my opinion, it's all just used to put the right ads in front of us. That's the only way these companies make money.
Well, and here's what
is ad revenue. That's it. They don't sell anything.
Here's what I don't understand. That, the damage is done. If they're really worried about, TikTok should have been banned before it was created. If that's what they're nervous about. I mean, it's what the number one, if not one of the number one platforms. They've already got all of the stuff. They've already got it. So banning it, it won't even if it gets passed, it's not going to end tomorrow. There's going to be this grace period for them to divest and get rid of it or whatever they're going to do.
Sell it to a US
or whatever they're going to say they're going to do.
Yeah.
But it's not like another half the world is going to log into this thing and they're going to get all this extra data. They have it already.
Right.
So I don't understand
170 million US users.
What are they stopping?
I guess they're just putting their foot down. I mean, if you leave the barn door open, all the animals get out. So they're trying to close the doors. It's all you can do. Sure, the animals are out. I think it's politics at its best. I don't know. We're never going to talk about politics on this. What we're going to talk about is the effect it has on inventors, business owners, things of that nature. But back to your question, yeah, they're trying to put a cap on it. And yes, it would be such a slow burn. If eventually it did fully get banned, all they're going to do is stop putting it on the app stores and things like that, which eventually will phase it out if you think about it. Because if they can't provide updates and keep up with the iOSs and all that junk, then eventually it will crumble.
And I read that they were going to put a fine on like an Apple store or whoever's, and it's for each user. Okay. So it was basically, the number was astronomical. It was like X amount of hundreds of billions of dollars in fines it would be if they kept it on the store. So, jeez. I mean, regardless of how they would do it or what they would do it, you're right. Let's talk more about how it would affect, us and our listeners.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Do you remember your TikTok journey? How it started?
Yeah. I mean, it started as being one of the 4 platforms. I thought, this TikTok is starting to get hot. I need to jump on there because I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and all those. And I didn't have a pull towards it because of any other reason. But the problem is I got on there for business purposes, and then you're watching stupid people dance and a dog, doing tricks, and you're like, I've just wasted 5 hours of my life.
That is the Achilles heel of it. I'll get on in the morning to post something, and I'll open up. It's usually Instagram for me. For some reason, TikTok just doesn't connect. But regardless, it's this short form content. So I'll pull up Instagram. All right, Grant, let's bust out a couple posts and get the day going. And I'll start looking at some guy, drilling a hole. And it's like, where does this hole end? And you're like, why do I care where this hole ends? It's a ridiculous waste of time.
It is.
My TikTok journey, since you asked, started, I was working at LA County, and I was working with a buddy named Ricardo, and he was a TikTok fiend, And I was on Facebook, I was on Instagram trying to post most days, and it was everything I could do to post on one platform probably, maybe 2. And he goes, dude, you're trying to sell a product and you're not on TikTok. You're effing And I said, why? He said, because, dude, look at this. Stupid videos are getting 10, 20, 30,000 views. And I'm like, dude, I'm not a 14-year-old girl. I don't have time for this. I'm already posting on Facebook. My fingers hurt from typing. No way, no how. And turns out he was right, because the next week I got on there, I posted 1 or 2 videos, and one of them quickly shot to 20,000 views. That's how TikTok got us. And they got a lot of US users, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. They absolutely did.
And now people live off of TikTok.
They do. And that's the big problem. That's the one thing most people here are fighting for, is people are making entire industries out of it. They have TikTok Shop, which people are selling. There's a guy I've seen who makes his own belts.
Yeah.
And he has some nice videos. He's consistent and he's killing it.
Yeah.
And that guy, that's the only reason people know that guy exists.
Right.
Yeah.
So now what's TikTok doing with all these active users? They're using them to lobby, aren't they?
I mean, they are. But I mean, and that's, we've also seen how TikTok, on all these platforms, you went from being able to post something that had 50, 100,000 to millions of views.
Yeah.
And now it's become so monetized, at least for you and I, it's hard to gain as much as we used to be able to out of posting a good post.
It's not what it used to be.
Yeah.
It is not. You and I got on it, I think I got on it in late 2020, maybe 21.
Yep.
You were probably shortly thereafter. And that's how you found me even, because back then, stuff slipped through the cracks that doesn't now. I remember the day I was doing a funny construction video, and I posted a video of my boss falling down a hill. We were hiking some hills in Agora or something, trying to climb poles. Anyway, he's like, hey, film this. And it ended up being somewhat funny. So I filmed it, and I posted it. And once it hit 10,000 views, boop, your video has been shut down. This is dangerous activity. So that was when I realized, okay, this ain't the Wild West anymore. This isn't, we had Terrence on week before last talking about going viral on YouTube back in 2002 or 2006, and he was just playing with a bracelet on camera. These days are kind of over, and you're right. It's more of a monetize. It's more of a pay-to-play. My conclusion at this point is that there is no one platform that will take you all the way.
Yeah.
Marcus, if TikTok was to go away tomorrow, would you care?
No, I wouldn't personally. I have had, you're right, the 4 different platforms that I post on, or we post on, it's surprising what hits on one but won't go anywhere on another, and why it won't. And I still haven't figured out the why exactly it works on one and the other, but there might be, I post regularly and I'll put something like, pets or trailers or whatever it is regarding my product, the hashtags.
Yeah.
And on one, it might be there's 5 million, let's just say 5 million pets on Instagram. That's that. But then you go to TikTok and it'll be 31 million or something.
Yeah.
The hashtags and what people are searching are so different. But surprisingly, that video might do best on YouTube Shorts.
Yes.
And
so wonky.
I have no clue why. I don't understand. But if TikTok, for me personally, went away, I would keep posting to the other ones and just keep trucking along. I don't make my money off of those social media posts.
Right. And what's going to happen is someone is going to see that gap in the market, and they're going to try to absorb those users.
Sure.
And how do you absorb new users? I may have told a story on the podcast. Back in the day, Facebook was paying people to make reels. If you had a business account and you linked a legitimate card to it, they would send you this kind of side door invitation, hey, do you want to get paid to post reels? And I started doing that, and 1 month I made $13,000 just from posting reels. Did I tell you this story?
Was that the knives?
No.
Oh.
Knives was when I was selling knives, fake knives illegally.
Yeah, right.
Back when I was really dumb.
Yeah.
No, man. So I was posting on all the platforms. I had signed my business up on Facebook because I wanted to have the Facebook shop, which I never fully figured out. But regardless, TikTok or Facebook sends me a little invite. They're like, hey, get paid per view on Reels, because they were trying to build it up at that time. And it was Facebook. Facebook's where whatever. But TikTok and Instagram Reels, they were kind of hot. So they were trying to trump up Facebook. So, and Facebook was crazy then. You could post a video of you throwing a wrench at a buddy and it would get 5-6 million views in a couple of weeks. And then they're paying per view, and I don't know what the ratio was, but man, it must have been at least a penny a view. I don't know. But the first month, they're like, your payment is on the way. And I looked, $3,900.
What?
And this is when I'm making like a little over $4,500 a month.
Right.
I'm like, that's pretty much my monthly nut at my 9 to 5. So then I went insane.
Yeah.
I was posting every day. I probably had 4 videos simultaneously in the millions of views. Your payment is on its way. $13,300 in 30 days.
That's crazy.
Dude, it was insane. And what happened was I got kind of used to the income. I was bragging to my wife how much I'm making. But in reality, what I was doing was TorkStrap, and these videos were just a byproduct. And it gave me a skewed perception of reality. I was thinking my business was doing well because I was cash positive, but at the same time, I'm like, no, Grant, your job is to sell straps, not to dance around and get views. And it was awesome. It was an awesome 4-month period where I was selling straps because I was going viral. I was getting paid by Facebook, and it was like I could do no wrong. But eventually I got to the point where I'm like, this isn't real. This isn't going to last forever. So I started to back off on the videos, and the payments started to reduce. $7,000, then $4,000, then $2,000. And then they phased out that program completely. So certainly that got me through some tough times in 2021. But that whole story I told is to tell you, the listeners, that say you've got 20,000, 30,000 followers on TikTok, which really doesn't mean anything anymore because they don't really allocate you views based on how many followers you have. If TikTok was to go away, Facebook would get smart and say, how are we going to snatch up that 170 million users real quick? They're going to implement another program like that, or they're just going to adjust their algorithm and let everybody go viral. And then that's going to be like, Facebook Reels is the new TikTok.
Or they're just going to sell it to themselves under a U.S. company name.
That's probably all they're going to do.
And it's not going to go anywhere, and nothing's going to change.
It's like the easiest thing in the world.
I feel like it.
My wife worked for Shein, and it was the same thing. It was a Chinese company, but they are working in the U.S., and they have dealings and bases in the U.S. Eventually, Shein had to create a firewall to where U.S. workers and their data and their platforms could not communicate with China. So it was like everything was word of mouth between the data from China, which is their HQ, to the U.S., which is doing all the U.S. work, which is one of the biggest markets. So that was their little workaround. There's always a workaround for this stuff.
Well, especially when it comes to a billion-dollar company or multi-billion-dollar company, they'll figure out a way to not get that thing shut down.
Right, exactly.
But that's interesting. You know, as far as people just making money out of the blue on there, like that doesn't, I think, so much pertain to our listeners as much as, you know, the TikTok shop, which I think has great. I haven't hit any of those shops. I haven't tried. I kind of have a capacity.
The shop sucks.
Yeah, does it?
Well, I've never got it to work.
Yeah.
Like, I've never been able to verify my business. People have always said, sign up for TikTok shop. It's crazy right now. I'm not into it.
Yeah.
I honestly tried like 100 times to send in my LLC information, my tax ID, my photo ID, and there was always, they would tell you, no, it got rejected, but it wouldn't tell you why. So you're trying like 6 combinations of different things. Should I put in my DUNS number or my EIN number? Should I send them my operating agreement for my company, or do I try to send in my whatever it is, my EIN application? It was like completely impossible. And I know people do it, and I don't have the patience for it. But the shop was a real thing. That could go away.
I did want to bring up something you had mentioned, because we do post to different platforms, and we have started running ads here and there on different platforms. Just to be open with everybody, you have an ads guy who specializes in that stuff. And we joked about Facebook, like, oh, Facebook. But Facebook is still perhaps the hottest ad placement platform for you, at least, right?
Meta.
Meta.
That's where all bona fide digital ads managers like I have, they start you at Meta.
Right.
And if you have a little bit more money, then Google. And if you really want to push it, then you go into like TikTok. TikTok is really an afterthought because it's still new. It's still weird. People don't buy the same on TikTok. They're on there for stimulation, scrolling before bed type of people.
And I think Meta is still a little older audience maybe. And your product and my product, at least on there, seems to be, it's going to be the people who own something to strap down or own a trailer for quick tie down anchors. It's not so much the 15 to 30-year-old dancing on TikTok kind of person.
Yeah, that's definitely, I think that plays into it highly. I think at the end of the day, it's just too new. It's not refined enough. They haven't figured out. Maybe it's this data issue. Maybe they don't know how to target Marcus. Drives a truck, goes out on the weekends, likes camping. They can't do that yet because, well, they're probably trying to play it pretty safe. Maybe. Yeah. Anyway, so there was a time in my TorkStrap career where if TikTok had gotten shut down overnight, I would have thought that was the end.
Yeah.
And so what do we do to circumvent or skirt around these potential hazards? We diversify. We've talked about it all the time. And that is why I asked you earlier, if it shut down tomorrow, would you care? And you said no, because you're diversified.
It is.
I have 89,000 followers on TikTok. Going back to what I said earlier with followers don't really matter. I still post videos that don't get more than 1,000 views. 80,000 followers does not mean that 80,000 people see everything you do. If your video still kind of sucks, it's not going to get shown. And what's happening recently is TikTok is even more competitive, and the videos that go viral are so methodically thought out. It used to be that things would honestly and truly organically go viral. Now, it is a cold, calculated event done by a very specific group of content creators who know exactly what to do to trigger the viewer to stay on the screen. I'll give you an example. My wife sent me a video the other day, and it was clearly fake. Me, as someone who uses TikTok, this was 100% staged, completely fabricated. She thought it was completely an organic event that happened. I think it was this guy. He was in the aisles at a grocery store, and he goes up to a stranger. He's on the guy's on the phone, and he goes up to the stranger. Psst, hey, I told my wife I'm at a Chinese restaurant. Can you please pretend to be taking my order? Hands the guy the phone. And sure enough, the guy just does a perfectly...
Well, and it's being filmed.
And it's being filmed. Come on. And he does a perfect Chinese restaurant impression. He's got a really funny way of the way he pings his words and this and that. And I'm like, honey, I've seen that guy do that impression on several different platforms in different variations. This is a completely staged video. And she's like, well, it's still funny. Like, son of a bitch. Like, that's the game that people are playing right now is... They know what's going to hit and what's not. The idea that your invention is so revolutionary that when people see it on TikTok, it's going to go viral. I think those days are over anyway.
I think so too. And you brought up you have 89,000 users. That's close to what I have. I have 400 users, I think, on
400,000 or
no 400 400.
Impressive.
Just gaining that stuff now. It really it boils down to not pitching your product, and I think that's the one thing. People don't want to be sold on these platforms. They want entertainment.
Yes,
I haven't cracked that code as far as that goes because there's only so much I can do with a quick tie down anchor that makes it entertaining versus, hey, I want to show you what it does and that you need it.
Oh, hey, I said the same thing about straps.
But you're a whack job. 50% of yours is you doing pull-ups and falling over and crushing boxes, which is great.
I'll do anything. I don't care.
I know, but that is actually something that could be good for our listeners. If you are going to do this stuff, take both of us as an example. I've posted a lot. I have hundreds of posts, and mine are mostly kind of factually based, nice looking posts.
Right.
I've gotten better and they're snazzier. But at the end of the day, people like you being a bit of a jackass or doing something stupid, And that's why you have 89,000 followers and I have 400. So
it's the truth.
If you're going to, shoot for these platforms and you're kind of stuck, try to find an entertainment value in there. Otherwise, you're not going to go very far.
You're not. You really, you got to have some balls. You have to be so provoking. One video that went really viral was me smashing a box. I've done it 100 times. But in the caption, instead of like TorkStrap versus ratchetstrap, I had to say, I'm not proud of this. It's not too bad, I guess. I said in the caption, a ratchet strap killed my dog when I was a boy.
Oh, no.
And it's like, there's no truth to that whatsoever. And I could care less. No shame. But it's reflective of what may be some people's stories, which is sometimes ratchet straps come loose.
That's a bunch of crap.
It's total crap. So then that caption encouraged people to read the small caption, the little white text caption, which is where I explained more and kind of made it make sense. But point is, you got to be kind of ruthless to get the views. And really, what you say on there is of so little consequence. As long as you're not sexist, racist, things of that nature, white lies, things like that. In my opinion, it's all fair game. And well, any publicity is good publicity.
You're a good shit talker, and
yes.
the funniest thing, and people lose their mind in the comments, and you're like, ratchet straps are crap or whatever. We both have them. Yeah. They're great. We use them all the damn time. But it's so funny where people, you don't know how to use it. You're like, of course I do, but guess what? I have a product and I want it to sell. And I mean, McDonald's doesn't say, Burger King has the best burgers.
Right.
They're like, Burger King is crap or what, their own version of that.
Yeah, honestly, that's my response. Is like, do you want me to start advocating for ratchet straps? What am I supposed to do here? I'm running a business.
Right. Yeah.
So, TikTok.
So back to TikTok. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I said, a lot of people saw these headlines about TikTok going away and they thought, I'm going to go pick out my headstone. That's it. My business is done. I'm finished. Put me 6 feet under. I can't do this anymore. And the reality is, it is of so little consequence. Now, there are people out there who they're not cross-platforming, which goes against everything you've heard in this podcast. Everything I had heard before I even started this journey with you, Marcus, was cross-platform, diversify, do what you can between, we talk about it all the time, try to balance your Shopify with your Amazon and maybe your Walmart marketplace, balance all your social medias because they go away all the time. Instagram was down for 24 hours like a week ago.
Yeah.
And some people would just be beating their head against the wall because their business model, like these creators, they're on like a pay-per-view type of thing, or they get bonuses, especially YouTube with their AdSense payments. If they're not doing well that month, they could make 10 grand in AdSense and the next month only make 2 grand in AdSense. And if you're trying to support the family and you're used to 10 grand and you go to 2 grand, you're going to be in a really bad mood for 30 days.
Yeah.
So you have to cross-platform. You have to build systems that are sustainable.
Well, and just talking about diversifying, I think Terrence, a couple podcasts ago, 24, brought up as well, like he diversified his manufacturing. Yeah. And it was one went down, so he's like, I was lucky because I already had a second one lined up. I think for most of us, getting a single manufacturer is already an accomplishment. But then the one thing, all these fears that I had going into this, and maybe you too, about dealing with manufacturers and figuring things out, once you get into it, you realize A, it's not nearly as scary, and B, the resources are out there for you to find easier than you think they are.
Right.
And whether you have a full-blown somebody lined up for a secondary thing is one thing, but as you get into it, start researching that other stuff, and don't be afraid because things can be found cheaper, or better made. Or in your case, you found both. Yeah. And that was just by reaching out and making some connections. So the moral of that story is the diversification of whether it's the platforms that you're posting on or selling on, as well as where you're getting your stuff made. All of it. Yeah. Why are you smirking?
Because I was thinking back to my ratchet strap killed my dog story, and it didn't make sense the way I explained it.
Yeah.
In the caption, I said that the dog kennel came loose. And does that make me sound better?
You sound like a total shitbag.
I was just thinking like a ratchet strap didn't walk up and shoot my dog. That's what the listeners heard. Crap, let me fix that.
So what, he fell out the back of your truck because you didn't have him strapped in well?
Yeah, the ratchet strap, the way I play out the lie in my head, the ratchet strap came loose on the dog crate and it wobbled its way out of the bed of the truck, man.
Oh, man.
Never again. If I can save one dog.
If you can save one lie.
All right. Well, this has been a brief one, but intentionally so. We wanted to address the TikTok scenario. Like I said, there was a point in my career where this would have devastated me.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to say you as well that it's of no consequence. So keep on keeping on. If you're going viral on TikTok, don't worry. You probably won't be this time next year anyway. Get on Facebook, get on YouTube Shorts, make long form videos. Do it all, man, because there's no one anecdote. It's a lot of little things.
Well, and you know, I think people are somewhat savvy and they can do their own research, but TikTok's not going away tomorrow.
Right.
So this whole ban, and it's not gonna, whatever happens, it's not gonna happen for a good while. And, and I don't think ultimately it's gonna happen at all. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I think they'll find a way around it, but don't freak out. There are tons of different platforms to use and research them all.
Yeah. Keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for tuning in to the Invent With Me podcast. If you're listening, be sure to follow the podcast on whatever platform you may be on. Like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Remember, Marcus and I took the punches so that you don't have to.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
We'll see you later. Bye, guys. Thanks.